Having completed the Competent Communicator Manual, our next speaker, Bill, finds himself at the start of a new journey. He has decided to share the story of how he and his family came to Wilmington in this 5 to 7 minute speech titled Icebreaker Part 2. Help me welcome Bill McNamara.
I'm starting on my pathways, and at the start of the journey, I like to reflect on what brought me to where I am. Today I want to share that with you by telling you a little bit about my daughter. My daughter is without a doubt the most wonderful, amazing person I have ever met. I like to think that what God didn't give me in my life in quantity, He gave us in quality, because my daughter is kind and compassionate and caring, and she's brilliant, and she's extremely funny, and she's fun, and she's friendly, and she has talents more than she can handle. And she took this amazing personality, and when she was little, she went skipping off to school without looking back at her parents, who were silently tearing up when she was going to school. And she loved it. Loved school. And then, when she got into the first grade, things kind of changed, and she started not loving school anymore. And we had a hard time trying to figure out what the problem was. Spelling was a nightmare. She would cry. Doing her reading was a nightmare. And we said, what's going on? And she said, sometimes it's like the light is coming from behind the words, and I can't see the words right. And I said, oh my God, there's something wrong with her eyes. We took her to an ophthalmologist. The ophthalmologist said her vision is perfect. And we said, what is going on? She used to be so happy and love school. And one day, for my dad's birthday, she drew a picture of all of her cousins. And she wrote everybody's age next to each cousin. And each number, she got backwards. So the 7s and the 5s, everything was backwards. And I said to my wife, she was in the first grade, is this a problem? Is this serious? Or is this, a little kid learning how to write her numbers and her letters? I spoke to my sister, who was a psychologist, and I said, here's what's happening. I don't have any perspective. Is this normal struggles, or is this serious? And my sister said, well, can she tell the difference between right and left easily? And I said, honestly, she never has been able to. Well, it's probably a good idea to have her tested. So we took her to get tested, and at the end of this process, the psychologist came back and said, well, your daughter has dyslexia. He said, but the good news is she's very young. So you have two options right now. She can get pulled out of class for half an hour a week, every week, or there are certain schools for otherwise high-achieving students who have a learning difference. I highly recommend you investigate this option. There's a school not far from where we live in New York. You should call them up and go see them. And I did. I called them up. And to my surprise, not only was the school shockingly expensive, I mean like 3 times as much as my college cost, but they had like a 2-year wait list. And I went online and I looked up, there are about 20 of these schools scattered around the country. There was one in Connecticut, one in Massachusetts, one in Jersey, one in Baltimore, and we kind of started spiraling outward from New York, looking at these schools, all of which were amazingly expensive, and all had waiting lists. And, on our list down near the bottom, there was Wilmington, North Carolina. And we said, oh, Wilmington. We had been there to Wilmington about 5 years earlier for a wedding of a college friend of my wife. And at that wedding, my wife and I sat there at the wedding and said, isn't this amazing, this place? And we said, maybe someday, when our daughter is grown, we'll take a vacation to Wilmington and we just won't come back. We'll just retire here. And now here it was on our list. And we called up the Hill School in Wilmington, and we spoke to the director, and she was lovely, but there was no room in the program. But, you know, they looked at Annie's, they looked at the results of her testing and everything looked great. They would let us know. And a few weeks later, we got a call that an opening had appeared, and I said, but I'm in Wilmington. What am I going to do about my job? What are we going to do about our home? My wife said, well, you know, they're encouraging work at home. Go in and talk to them. And I said, I don't think that's what they're talking about. But I went in and I spoke to my boss, and I said, listen, this is what we're dealing with. Is work at home, like, do you have a problem if my home is in Wilmington, North Carolina? And my boss was wonderful, said, listen, you do good work. I don't have a problem with that. Just keep me posted. We'll do whatever we can. So we applied, Annie got in, we gave up the lease on our apartment, and 6 weeks after we got the diagnosis, we were trying to beat the truck down to Wilmington, which was terrifying. We didn't know anyone here. And we were doing it all with just a hope. Certainly no guarantees, but the hope that what we found here is what my daughter needed. Well, it's a few years later now, and I say to my wife, I can't believe how well our daughter is doing. She's been doing incredibly well, and she's happy and confident again, and she's fun, and she loves school again. And I say, I am so proud of her. And I am so proud of us for what we did, for taking that sort of risk and just stepping out off of the ledge with just a hope. And a few months after we came to Wilmington, I went on the computer and said, I wonder if there's a Toastmasters Club that's close by here. And I found out that there was one at a place called Chris's Restaurant. And on a dark day in February, I wandered in here. So I find myself at the start of the pathways now. And I think back, so there's Robert Frost's most famous poem is The Path Not Taken. And I think the last stanza gets most of the attention, but the second to last one is what really rings true to me. And part of that says, I left the other for another day, but knowing how path leads on to path, I doubted I would ever come back. And there's two things I like about that. One is that we only pass through each point once. And sometimes that's really good. And sometimes you look back and say, hey, wasn't that time really special? But the second thing is, path leads on to path. You know, we find ourselves where we are, not only just facing a new journey, but we carry with us the experiences we've earned up to this point, and we go forward with the love and the strength we have, and we make the best decision we can. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bill. Please take a moment to write a note to Bill, and may we have a timer's report, Sue?
Yes.